Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heavy Pod is Heavy Cast. I don't know why I switched accents midway through that.
You just did the Robert Downey Jr.
I don't get the reference.
Wasn't he like notorious for trying to do British accents and being terrible at it? Or am I thinking of a different person?
Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise both have terrible British accents.
Oh, I just saw the Keanu Reeves in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
What's the catchphrase in the cart? He's completely changed. Something like that. Oh, it's so good.
Well, the movie is actually really good, though. So, I don't remember who did this. I need to look this up. There is a long-ass YouTube video essay. I think it was from Cinemassacre, like a angry video game nerd, about the most accurate Dracula adaptations. Like he basically goes through like all the movies that are adapting Bram Stoker's Dracula, and basically he comes to the conclusion that like the Coppola version with Keanu is actually like the most accurate adaptation to the book in terms of plot beats to hit and characterization and all that stuff. So I thought it was a really fascinating video. And it's like a 30-minute video. Which Dracula film is most faithful to the book? It's really interesting because like there are some, it's interesting to see what kind of liberties have been taken with the plot and like what things people kind of consider to be culturally staples of Dracula that are not actually part of the original novel, but are of more well-known adaptations. And there's been like 12 adaptations at least.
Yeah.
The most interesting one, by the way, is the 1953 film Dracula in Istanbul, which is actually based on a Turkish novel.
Isn't that the first one to feature like vampires with fangs or something like that?
Yeah, actually, interestingly, it was like one of the most accurate ones, despite not being based on the actual novel itself. You can now buy the English translation of the Dracula in Istanbul novel. It was like obviously like the original was plagiarized from actual Dracula, but there are some really interesting like differences in the Turkish novel, for lack of a better term. Like, how Islam plays a role in like the Dracula mythos is like an interesting angle. I would actually recommend reading Dracula in Istanbul, the book. The movie is actually really, really hard to find. But you can also like find it on like YouTube, I think. And the movie is pretty decent too. It's a silent film, but the book is actually quite interesting. You can go and check it out.
So I found the catchphrase from the movie, which is like Keanu's most offensive accent. And it's, he's grown young. It's just so fucking bad. If you haven't heard it ever, I stumbled upon this like a few weeks ago. I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula when I was really young. So just Google like Keanu Reeves, he's become young. It's hilarious. I mean, I love Keanu, right? For the ham acting. He owned it, right? He made it into a brand.
And Gary Oldman was also obviously as Dracula, like
really good cast.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hopkins as Van Helsing.
Yeah. And what's her name? She was in
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder, yeah. Okay.
Yes, but also Carrie Elves from Princess Bride and Saw.
Oh yeah, nice, good cast for sure. It's a good movie.
Yes,
but not for Keanu's accent.
My book recommendation for the week is Dracula in Istanbul, the unauthorized version of the Gothic classic. It was actually written in 1928. It's a really interesting book.
Cool.
Anyway,
okay,
English. Speaking of things that suck the life out of you, the Vildiarta album is out.
So there's a joke. It's not a joke. It's true. On like Heavy Blog inner circles, where we post these like. This is gonna sound like very pampered or spoiled or whatever, but fuck that. You post like
this podcast never.
Yeah, true. So you post this like super in-depth article, I don't know, like a prog notes or a deep dive on something, and you put in hours and hours of work on researching it and writing it, and then it gets good engagement, right? Like it's gonna get like 20, 30 reacts and some comments, and people are gonna share it. It's fine. But then you post a meme, like for example, the fucking 4/4 meme, right? Like April 4th, musicians must love it because it's 4/4, haha. And then the day after, you do like, or in May, if you're American, you do like 5/4, right? Oh, the progressive rock musicians love this date. And then you get like 1,000 shares and you go viral and you get amazing engagement. So something similar happened this week. We posted Jimmy's review of the new Vildiarta album, and admittedly, like, I'll give Jimmy props, it's a kind of lukewarm review, right? He's like, the music is cool.
But would you give Jimmy progs?
I wouldn't. You would. Anyway, he's like, he says what I agree, what I think as well about the album, and I agree with, is that the music is good, but it had no business being like 80 minutes long or whatever. And even the songs there that are, you know, interesting and innovative, which are most of them aren't, they still wouldn't have made up like a full release. So it was kind of lukewarm, but it did say that it's good to have them back and whatever. We'd love to hear from them whenever they make music. Fine. And it blew the fuck up. So first of all, the band themselves, you already know what they commented.
I didn't look at it, actually.
But you know what they commented.
What
will
Vildiarta
comment on a review of theirs? Of course, they commented Thal. And like...
Thal. Got him,
Got
bro.
him! Got him! The funniest... So, you know how they say that jokes are about anticipation? And the subversion of expectations and surprise? Well, Thal is an anti-joke, and I don't mean that it's an anti-joke in the sense that it goes beyond the deadpan and becomes funny again, which Noyan really likes that genre.
Yes.
And I have grown to like it because of him, because he kept telling me jokes in that style. This isn't that. This is just people being stupid. And yes, I'm gonna be that guy that's gonna say that this thing is stupid. I know that it's harmless and whatever. It's people typing 5 characters, and it's not a big deal. But honestly, when I get like 50 comments and they're all Thal, it's not funny, it's not quirky, it's not haha the internet. Like, I'm sorry to say this, but it's so 2011. It's not even funny in an ironic way now. So anyway, the band commented, and that caused it to blow up. And now I'm looking at the fucking... Oh my god, it makes me so mad. I'm looking at the stats. 567
you
reactions.
Mad, bro?
I am mad. I am fucking mad. 567 engagements. And like scrolling back, I can tell you, like Release Day Roundup, which is one of our most popular posts, has, you know, ongoing, has 25 reacts. And Into the Pit and premieres and prog notes. This post has reached 21,000 people, which is 8.5 times higher than our average score. Like, fuck you. Fuck all of you. I mean, thank you. Those are good numbers, but also fuck you, because who cares? Who gives a shit? Why do so many people care about this? I can't.
I see your point. On the other hand, Thal.
True. I fail to consider. Marx failed to consider Thal. Ah, my god. I mean, insert like a Mark Fisher, nostalgia, cancelled futures, whatever, rant here, right? Like pining for old bands over new ones that do the formula better than the old bands, sticking to old jokes that make no sense anymore and aren't even funny, all for this feeling of belonging. And like the golden years are still here, and it's still 2011, and you're listening to Jen for the first time, and it's super awesome, and whatever.
Yeah, the album is not that worthwhile. I mean, so there's good stuff on the album. It's not like trash. It's just like 80 minutes of just like boom, boom,
pretty much.
Dum, dum, dum. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you should do like a full a cappella cover of this album.
So, on my YouTube channel, which I like very rarely post content,
Cursed Space.
Cursed Space. I have just like all kinds of random garbage in addition to my like music videos, and I have like 758 subscribers, so it's not like I'm anything interesting. One of my most viewed videos is Vildhjarta in 13 seconds. You know, that like a 9-year-old video. You know, back in the day, you know, there were these memes of like X in Y seconds. Yeah. And like, it's just like, you know, the chug, the scrape, the bend, the atonal thing. And like, that video is still like accurate. 10 years later, it's still the same thing. Yeah. I'm actually going to post that in our heavy blog group right now to get people mad.
Yeah, do it. Normally I would say don't do it, but they've earned it. Like, I'm sure that a fair percentage of those people, actually, when the first single was posted in that group, lots of people commented Thal. So this is what you get. Okay? This is your punishment, for doing that. Fuck. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Alright, let's go. Let's generate internal engagement and content.
And this is happening live. We're doing multimedia. Go to the group and post with the hashtag Thal to get banned instantaneously.
We'll return to you after
it goes viral
with the results. Speaking of like doing the same thing, there's a new Cynic song, but not really.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to.
It's a trailer. It's a song trailer, whatever.
It's a song trailer, which is an odd thing.
Yeah.
And there's no like date for when the song is coming out. There's just a date for the album, and they're saying like there's also going to be like a film that goes along with the album. I'm sure it's just going to be like some new age, you know, imagery, whatever. I mean, the song is cool. It's like stuff after Traced in Air didn't really happen, which, you know,
good.
That's about as much as I could expect from Cynic at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Cynic has been like not even like, you know, trailblazer bands are like still like 1 or 2 tiers below what Cynic was at the time.
Yeah.
But like, of course, you know, we've had the Seans pass away, which really sucks. But they've never really kind of done anything that is kind of as innovative, or even, in my opinion, I mean, you don't have to be innovative to be good, but like, it's just kind of been Paul Masvidal just doing whatever. It's so, I mean, in a sense, this is good, but on the other hand, like, would we be fine if this didn't exist? Probably. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too cynical.
No, you had to do it. You had to do it to him. I agree. Like, why? And also, why? And also, why is the name of the track randomly generated by a Cynic track name generator? It's called SHA48*, which I assume is like a star system, bro. And
well, actually, I was assuming that, you know, it was like encryption, like SHA-256. But maybe that's the computer scientist in me. I don't know.
It might be, or it could be like a chemical or something stupid like that. And
Accession codes, bro.
Yeah, and then the other, like, it's 2 tracks, I think, like an intro, and then the track itself. It's called 6-Dimensional Archetype. No,
bro, like, what's the 4th and 5th dimension though?
Bro.
Okay, hot take. When people say time is the 4th dimension, I get upset. Like the 4th, there can be a 4th spatial dimension, like X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
You know, but okay, mathematical stuff. I'm not going to get into it, but like when people say time is the 4th dimension, I just get mad. So like, just wanted to get that out there.
You don't get it though. Like, they're vibrating on 420 hertzes. Which is
Cynic is totally, like, especially, I mean, by Cynic, I mean Paul, is totally the kind of guy who would, like, tune to A equals, like, 420 and be like, yeah, this is, like, the true vibration of the universe.
The God frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit continues to be, like, fucking stupid and surface level, whatever. I expect it at this point. The music itself is better than Kindly Bent to Frias, but you can say that about pretty much anything that's not atrocious. So I guess if he has to release music, then it should be music of this caliber instead of worst things.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, honestly, like, we're being kind of jaded here, and like, for what Cynic has been doing, like, for the longest time, this is pretty okay.
Yeah,
and like, but I'm just not excited by it.
Yeah, I don't care. It has not moved me to care.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of things that have not moved me to care, there's a couple of new Whitechapel songs from their upcoming album, Kin. First of all, I totally forgot that the album that they put out last existed, despite like listening to it a decent amount. What was it called? Like the one with When a Demon Becomes a Witch or something like that.
I don't listen to Whitechapel, so.
But like, okay, so Whitechapel are like a bizarre band, I think.
They
started out The Valley, yes, thank you. So they, by the way, Googling Whitechapel and finding the band is like quite difficult.
Yeah, you get the neighborhood.
The TV show, The Neighborhood, and a bunch of other things. Okay. So they started out as like death metal-ish deathcore with the Somatic Defilement. And then with This Is Exile is just deathcore. A new era of corruption is like modern death metal deathcore. Then they had the self-titled album, which was just like kind of cringy brocore. Our Endless War, I don't remember what that one was. Just chugs, whatever. The Saw is the Law. Oh yeah, that's the like shitty one. Mark of the Blade like was just like gent. And then The Valley was like kind of Fallujah style, big brain, modern death metal. Atmospheric, yeah. Like, you know, we are like, we've seen The Witch.
Sees The Witch once.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. Like, I thought, you know, of all the stuff that they did, this was like the most interesting thing they've done in like 10 years. And now the new album Kin seems to be following, but like, I just like, with this band, like, I had completely forgot everything since like Saw is a Law existed. Like, I just don't understand what this band is at this point. And the new singles are, if you like, objectively, pretty good, right? You know, they're again doing this kind of like death metal, but for people who are like smart, bro, and like we're like atmospheric and emotional. But like I like I'm supposed to like this, but I just don't. I don't like. It doesn't stick with me. It's like I don't know, man.
It's like an average of a bunch of bands.
Yeah, and like I want to like it more. Just because, you know, I like a good redemption story. They're doing something that is relatively unique and interesting, but it's like, I don't know. I just find it hard to care at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway.
Let's do the shitty stuff and then the good thing.
Yeah. So there's a new, unfortunately shitty, because I didn't want this to be shitty.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily like super shitty, but you know, I'm not in the mood to be giving the benefit of the doubt. There's a new August Burns Red song called, Vengeance, I think.
Yeah, Vengeance.
It's a cool song. Like it has like blast beats. It's like one of the heavier songs that they've done in a while. And the lyrics of the song are like, everyone has a new conviction. We're shocked by those who fell victim. Many who grew up with only allies have abandoned being civilized. They raise their fist, not questioning why. Disagreements leave you crucified. And it's like I know that they're not like right wingers, but like this is the type of like rhetoric that the right can very easily take and be like.
And I mean, like. These guys have always had like Christian undertones in their music, and they're not secret about that. And the way this track ends, I think, is even worse. An eye for an eye, a bullet to the chest. We have no peace because we have no respect. That's like a right wing talking point, right? Like they don't respect us, they don't care about us, all that stuff. An eye for an eye, a bullet to the chest. This year changed how we carry out vengeance. Bro.
Yeah.
What exactly about this year are you referring to? There are only bad choices. So, was it COVID? And now you're gonna take vengeance on the libs and the masks or whatever? Or was it Black Lives Matter and the insurrection? Or what's going on here? Like, what are you talking about?
I think they're coming from the angle of like, we just can't respect each other anymore. Why is everybody so inflamed? Let's all just be friends is like the most charitable reading of it, which is still like, come on, like be a little, read the room.
Yeah. And I mean, in the comments, it's already going on, right? Like someone quoted that sentence that you referred to and said August based red. And that's obviously like based not in the post-ironic, funny Twitter voice, but the our guy right-wing voice, right? And below them, there's like a reaction, a reply, the perfect lyric for the way society has become disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think you and I both firmly, believe that we are in a situation right now where it's not good enough to not be like shitty. You have to be actively anti-shitty.
Yeah.
And like, this is like not actively anti-shitty, even though I think they're like, from their perspective, yeah, we're just being friends, bro. Like, they need like this, you know what I mean? Fuck it. Let's move on.
No, I don't want to move on, actually. I think this ties into like Smash Mouth as well.
Okay.
Like, so Smash Mouth, they just had like their last show, or at least their last show with their vocalist, Steve Harwell. And like, he was a mess. He was obviously, I don't know, drunk or high or both. And he like, you know, gave the Zig Heil and flipped people off. And has like, you know, flipped the finger and swore at people, and it was just like fucking chaos. And that was his last performance. Now, what does this have to do like with each other? First of all, I don't think he's a racist or a Nazi or whatever. He was just doing shit because he was just not there, right? Like, it's obvious, and they say it in the band have already sent out a statement saying that he's been suffering medical problems and he's medicated and stuff like that, and it's probably like in a mental capacity here. But the thing is, and the way this ties into ABR, you need to understand that, like, and this is a liberal problem, obviously, that racism and other stuff like misogyny and oppression in many forms is not like the amount of times that the reason that it happens is an individual saying, I specifically hate these people with all of my passion and I will go out of my way to kill those people or to hurt them. That's the fringe, right? That's like Charlottesville, right? But they're not necessarily the problem, because for every one person that does shit like that, they need to have a really wide support network, right? This is something that the left also does for itself. Like, you don't have to be on the barricades. That's a famous saying. You can write books and do propaganda and feed protesters and be a medic and just agitate on social media and do communications and intelligence. There's a bunch of stuff you can do that's not like actively taking a Molotov cocktail and throwing it at a police car, which you shouldn't do, by the way. I'm not recommending that you do that in any way. You can do it in Minecraft if you want, but like,
libtake, bro.
Yeah, not throwing Molotov cocktails at police cars is lib. No, but I'm saying for the record that I'm not recommending you do that, unless you're in Minecraft. Anyway, so because, you know, throwing Molotov cocktails at shit is really fucking scary. Like, a guy died doing that in 2018. He got shot doing that. It's really, really, really scary. And in order for you to have the courage to do that shit, you need to have a wide support network. Now, that support network, they don't have to Sieg Heil. They don't even have to see themselves as fascists or Nazis or even alt-right. They're just common people like you and me who are fed up with what this government is doing to us. And I'm not giving any details on purpose because it can be anytime, any place, right? They would never, you know, shoot a person. They would never, like, run someone over. They would never do any of that stuff. But they think that those who want to should be free from prosecution by the police. Or they think they should have the right to entertain the notion in a song. And that's how these networks of harm come to pass, right? That's how they happen. Now, if you're this guy who's, I don't know, in a garage somewhere singing about this shit, whatever, I don't give a shit. But this is August Burns Red, right? Like, they're gonna get a ton of views, and beyond the views, it's gonna be on an album, and people are gonna have access to these lyrics. And they're gonna say, August Burns Red supports me. Yeah, they can't, like, go public and say, I don't know, who's alt-right is gone, right? Like, Richard Spencer is not relevant, Milo is not relevant, all these people are gone. But they can't just come out and say, I don't know, Biden was falsely elected, but they can say, this year changes how we do vengeance. Right?
Yeah.
And those people can be emboldened by it. Again, not just by August Burns Red, but by a mass. And for fuck's sake, there isn't a dearth of metalcore that supports this shit. Right? There isn't a shortage of that. There's a ton of metalcore that supports this shit. All the Punisher t-shirts and all that bullshit. So this is how stuff like builds up, and that's what we mean when we say it's not enough to not be shitty. Same thing with the Smash Mouth thing. Like, the only reason that Smash Mouth can still do shows is because of the memes. Right? Because of, like, Shrek. Right? Because of the internet keeping this band alive by nostalgia. But that shit has repercussions. Like, those are people. Do you think, like, any person or most people on this planet can stay healthy and mentally stable when they're in charge or part of a band that is a meme? Like, think about how that feels. I saw, sorry for the rant, by the way, but I think this is important. I saw Europe in Hellfest in 2008. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of people outside of Britain or France know this, but Europe have other songs other than the Final Countdown. Like, and those songs are not like Final Countdown. They're like a heavy rock, metal kind of, Judas Priest kind of band, right? And they used to be massive, but there were 15,000 people in the audience. The entirety of Hellfest back then, like 15 years ago when Hellfest was a bit smaller. 50 hardcore Europe fans who were all obviously British at the front row, like singing, and the rest of the people were chatting, like during their set. And then when they played the da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, then everybody like jumped to their feet and started cheering, stuff like that. That has to feel bad. Like, complicated. It's not entirely bad. Like, these people love your song and they came out to see you, but all they want from you is this one song. Yeah. That's 100%. Name one Smash Mouth song that's not, I don't even know how it's called. What's that song called?
All-Star?
All-Star. Yeah, like, that has to be super complicated. And again, like with the ABR thing, it's not just you sharing like an all-star meme, right? For sure, but a group of people, millions of people, keeping this band alive just because of nostalgia and a meme, just to make fun of them, basically, right? Is kind of fucked up. And I'm saying this to myself as well, right? I've shared like all-star memes. There's the one where it's all-star but it misses a beat like every 3 beats. It's hilarious. But also, these guys are being made a mockery of. So, now take that, do it for 25 years. Like, it's fucked up. And I think, we've spoken about this on the cast many times before, especially in the first like year or two of the podcast. Like, we have a responsibility for this shit. Whether it's like August Burns Red being cryptic about vengeance in lyrics, or, making a fool of someone. Another example that you actually opened my eyes to is the whole Marilyn Manson took out a rib to suck his own dick, right? That thing. It was started by Christian Moms Against Metal, right? Like a group. Now, Marilyn Manson is a terrible person. Awful person, like rapist and assault, sexual assault, and just an awful guy. But that doesn't change the fact that by telling that joke, and people still tell that joke, we took like a really heinous and disgusting and homophobic trope that an anti-metal Christian group circulated, and we kept it alive. Like, if no one would have circulated that lie, it would have died. No one would have known what the fuck I'm talking about right now. I wouldn't even be talking about this if it wasn't for the jokes. So, we have a responsibility here. We are culpable, and we need to do better and like understand what are we perpetuating by, the bands that we listen to and the memes and the tropes that we choose to keep alive. That's it. That's my rant.
All I can say is yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about this many times before, right? It's just like two things that brought it up again. Okay, let's talk about good stuff.
Yeah, so in other news of bands that do long songs and are progressive but are somehow still interesting, there's a new Wilderun song.
Yeah, finally. Wilderun. Oh, go ahead. You were going to say something?
I just said finally.
Oh, finally, yeah. So Wilderun, like, if you want the shallow description, People call them Opeth, but more melodic. That's not wrong, but I think they're much more than that.
Yeah.
They were that, I think, on like earlier releases, and it took them some time to kind of, get their own voice and really take those influences and make interesting things with them. They released Olden Tales and Deathly Trails in 2012, and then Sleep at the Edge of the Earth in 2015, which started to like shape their sound into something more interesting. And then they really burst onto the stage with Veil of Imagination in 2019. This is like one of the best albums of the previous decade, yes. I would say. Incredibly like rich and lush, melodic and progressive death metal. Really like hard to describe, right? Like a concept album, crazy artwork, super good lyrics, super good composition. Like, doesn't sound like anything else. Very bombastic and over the top. And now they're back with Passenger, which is the first single from their upcoming album, titled something.
Epigon.
Yeah. I am so excited for this.
By the way, this has a radio version that's 5 minutes and like a real version that's 9 minutes.
Yeah, they made like a socially distant video for it. Where they're just like in a ruin in the woods, playing like, I don't know, 20 feet from each other. It's so good. It like maintains the epicness of the Wilderon sound from Veil of Imagination. So there's still all these like orchestral, operatic segments. But I feel like the riff, like the main riff of the track, is one of the hardest yet. Like it really hits, has a really good groove to it. So I'm super excited. Like if this is just Veil of Imagination 2, it's totally fine with me. I think they still have credit like to make another album in this style, and I'm very excited for it. Releases, oh my god, January 7th.
Yep.
2022, which is about to be the date, by the way, in case you still think it's 2019.
Oh god, don't even get. It has a bit of more like of a playfulness almost that it kind of like reminds me a little bit of Early Pain of Salvation, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting comparison. Yeah, definitely I can hear that in big guitar leads.
Yeah, and like with the vocals as well. Yeah, I mean, Wilderon, good stuff. They're good.
Yeah.
Listen to them.
Yeah.
Hot takes. I know.
Okay.
Are we done with the music shit?
Yeah. The boring shit is over.
Alright, so my time to rant.
Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna mute myself and I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Alright, so Squid Game. So Squid Game is, you've probably heard about it. It's Netflix's most popular show of all time. It is a Korean show that is written and directed by let me get the name right. I know the guy's name, but I just forgot. Fuck. God damn it! Why is my home button not working? My keyboard suddenly died. Cool. Hwang Dong-hyuk, which is he's done a few other films. Silenced was a film that he did like in 10 years ago. And he had a couple of other films, but he's like not a nobody, right? And it stars Lee Jung-jae, and that guy was in a bunch of films as well. Which was the one? The Housemaid was a good one that he was in. New World. New World is a really good like mafia crime drama. Starring the guy also who was the lead in Oldboy, by the way. It's a really good movie. Anyway, so Squid Game. The premise of Squid Game is basically what the genre is called, like a death game genre. A bunch of people who are in debt participate in this mysterious series of games that are like a really basic game, but if they lose, they get killed, and
if they win, they get like riches.
Yeah, exactly. There's like betrayal, there is like mind games, blah, 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 blah. So this show, I mean, aesthetically, the show looks really nice. But I am upset about this show for a couple of reasons. first of all, it's not a terrible show per se. However, there are 2 manga. One of them has an anime adaptation, and the other one actually has a Korean drama adaptation. Kaiji Ultimate Survivor and Liar Game. So the first episode of this show is literally beat for beat Kaiji. And, like, it's, compulsive gambler character, is like super deep in with loan sharks. He signs something to the loan sharks, and that thing he signed turns out later that, it was his entry into the death games. Yeah. And then he gets recruited by a slick guy in a suit who like kind of entices him by appealing to his gambler nature and blah, blah, blah. It's like literally beat for beat. Which is, at least the creator is honest about it. He's said that he's directly influenced by Kaiji, but still, I mean, it's like literally.
Yeah, there's influence in literally making the same fucking like story beat.
Yeah, and then the rest of the material is like really Liar Game influenced, and Liar Game is a similar premise. Like it's like super blatant, and like, I mean, people have called this out. I'm not mad that it's plagiarized, like whatever, that's but what I'm upset about it is that it doesn't add anything more on top of these. Like, it doesn't, like, literally beat for beat everything that happens in this show. If you've seen those 2 things, you will see them coming, which makes the show boring. Like, it's just oh, that guy, he's actually like, he ends up betraying them. Oh, that guy, like, oh, and the character archetypes are the same, by the way. But the thing is, the thing that made the original materials interesting are not actually present in this show, where the main character in Kaiji, he's kind of a loser, but he is such a, like, chaotic guy who's like completely gone, right? Like, he has nothing to lose, so he always goes all in and wins through like sheer perseverance. So the main character in this isn't that. He's just kind of a bumbling idiot who kind of lucks his way through the games. And the main character in Liar Game, she is she just wants to believe in people, right? She thinks that these games are bringing out the worst in people, and she tries to win through like the power of friendship. And her sidekick is the kind of a mastermind kind of guy, and like they balance each other right? There's these kind of interesting dynamics at play that give you something about the nature of humanity as you're playing these games, because the baseline assumption of the game is that, oh, people suck, they're going to betray each other. But either through like, power of friendship or through like sheer chaotic perseverance, you get to kind of have a different angle. But this guy, the main character in this show, is just plain. He's just like white bread. So it just sucks as a death game show. And like it's constantly like, oh wow, this game, it's actually, they're gonna die if they do this. Oh no, it's like it's just like, it thinks it's like so much smarter than it is, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one gripe I have against it. The secondary gripe I have against it is that as a Korean drama, and I watch a lot of Korean dramas, by the way, as a Korean drama, it just sucks. Like the kind of human plot in between the games, right, is really shitty and really generic and like really kind of melodramatic, but in like the most boring and predictable way. Like, I just came off watching the show called Beyond Evil, Korean name Goemul. It's also on Netflix, by the way. It won like Korea's version of Emmy Awards. Like, it swooped all of the awards, right? That show was fucking incredible. Like, amazing performances, really intricate plot, and like super well shot. This one is just like so rote. Like, all the characters are like super archetypal and super basic, and it's just like so shittily melodramatic. Like, if you've ever seen any Korean drama, you'll see anything in here and coming. Or like, if you've any seen like, Spanish telenovelas or like Turkish soaps, I'm sure Israel has like shitty soaps as well. Like, it's just those, right? So it's just shitty in terms of how basic it is. But like, of course, I mean, aesthetically it's nice, and also like it's kind of shocking, right? Like, if you're not familiar with the genre, so of course it kind of blows up in the West, and like it becomes memetic because like there's some like, like,
and also memorable. the Netflix viral ad machine.
Yeah, of course. So like, people kind of I don't know. on one hand, it's nice that people are, getting more into this kind of stuff. But on the other hand, it's like, that this is the one that gets so much recognition is kind of unfortunate when there's so much better stuff out there. And like, again, I'll recommend some Korean dramas. Beyond Evil on Netflix. Also Stranger on Netflix. Stranger is also on other platforms called Secret Forest. Actually starring the same lead actor as this show. There's another one called Deliver Us from Evil that also came out last year. That's on the Korean drama streaming platform Viki. That one is super, super good as well. Like, there's just like so much better stuff out there. And like even if it wasn't kind of compared to, its peers, the kind of human aspects are super generic and like super kind of played out and uninteresting. And the kind of games themselves are just kind of like, yeah, okay, we get it. So the worst thing a show like this can do is be boring. And I was like super bored throughout this because all the kind of game stuff is so ripped off from other stuff that you can see. I saw every single thing coming, and like all the human elements were just like really shitty and generic. So fuck this. I'm sorry. The anime Kaiji is on Crunchyroll. Go fucking watch Kaiji. Kaiji is incredible. It's so fucking good. It's like a better version of Squid Game. And also the Korean drama adaptation of the show Liar Game. You can also watch that. It's literally just better than this one. Yeah. That is my like rant thing. I'm trying to be not like, oh, I like the thing before you did, or like, blah, 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 but like, it's just like,
yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I wasn't going to watch it anyway, but this kind of like solidifies why. And I'll say why I wasn't going to watch it. It's not just because it's popular. Again, I do like popular things, no matter how much Noyan likes to make fun of me for not. It's just like over the last few years, and there have been some good inclusions in that trope, like Parasite, for example. Mm-hmm. This whole idea of like, specifically South Korean, but also in general Southeast Asian, movie which is an allegory against capitalism, actually. Has kind of become, it kind of become a trope. And at this point, capitalism is just doing that thing again, guys, where it takes the form of rebellion and commodifies it, right? It's just doing that thing again where it takes any criticism of it whatsoever and completely diffuses it by commodifying the rush that you get from participating in something that is supposedly subversive. Takes that rush and makes you buy shit from it, because you better fucking believe it, there's Squid Game merch, and if there isn't a Squid Game pop, then I will fucking, I don't know, jump off a building, because there will be one within like a few months. And again, you're not bad or like a capitalist for watching Squid Game, but it's just like, I'm done with this kind of like trope.
And I was gonna get to that too. Like this whole like Squid Game is a scathing critique on capitalism is like, I mean, it's just so like milk basic toast. And entry level and milquetoast. Yeah, it's just like, like poor people, like everybody in the show, like that's one of the reasons the human drama aspects of the show suck. Is like, oh yeah, isn't capitalism bad, bro? Like, I mean, yes, but like fucking, we get it. Like, it's just like so. Bleh. Yeah.
Let's talk about something else that's meh.
Right.
Yeah, the Foundation series. Admittedly, the whole thing is not out, like the whole season, but the first few episodes have been underwhelming, to say the least. Let's do the good stuff first. Lee Pace is fucking incredible, and he needs to play more villains. I think these guys like watched Ronan on Marvel. Like Lee Pace play Ronan, like, okay, this guy has to be the fucking Emperor. And then Jared
he was
Harris,
also like the Elf King in the Hobbit movies, right?
Yeah, but there he's not really bad. He's just like condescending, right?
Yeah.
But here is like full on villain. It's super, super, super fucking good. And then Jared Harris is of course like, he's flawless. Like you can't touch him. He's an amazing actor. But now what happened here is what usually happens, like in Snowpiercer, the series as well, where you get those two actors that the production blew all the budget on, and then the rest. So Lou Lubell, who plays Gal, she's good, but she's the only one from the quote-unquote supporting cast, although Gal is pretty much like the main character, you might say. They're bad, all of them. So you have actually Clark Peters, who played in The Wire. He played the guy with the furniture, who makes like little furniture models, the really good detective that's like disgraced and old.
Yeah.
But he plays like a minor character. It's nice to see him on screen, but he's not like gonna save this thing. And all the rest of the supporting cast are like from aggressively bad to just like whatever. So, but Lee Pace and Jared Harris are definitely the best thing. It has a lot of money, so the Apple TV, right? So the CGI looks great, and the world looks amazing. But you know what the main problem of this thing is? Foundation is not that good. To be clear, like Isaac Asimov wrote amazing books, but even his best books, like I'd say The End of Time is maybe my favorite one. It's old. It's outdated.
Yeah.
It's like you watch this shit now, and it's like golden age sci-fi, and they play it so fucking straight. Math will save us. Math will predict the future. All you need to do is trust the science, and I guess that's appropriate for a liberal moment, right? Like trust the science, trust the facts. It's cringe, guys. It's cringe. Like 2021. Making a show where the main premise is this guy does math good, therefore he knows the future. Like, it's just bad. So, yeah, there are good ideas in here, like the triplet emperors. Like they're all cloned in different stages of life. That's very cool. And some of like they use the black hole model from Interstellar. Like it's very clear, it looks like that black hole animation that they did, CGI that they did. That looks great, but the whole thing is like, my god. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll keep watching, but for now it has not caught me. Or yeah,
I still haven't watched more beyond the first episode yet. I'm with this and C season 2. I've been waiting to
So C is actually very good. We already recommended it, but season 2 is worth it.
I recommended it, but like we never got to talk about it. You want to talk about it?
We should do it maybe next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You do your other things.
Okay.
I'm just kind of spent on my Squid Game rage.
Rant, yeah, took all your mana. So speaking of mana. An interesting thing is that I recently got into League of Legends. Like over the past 3 months, I lost this friend who I used to play other shit with all the time. He didn't like die or anything. It's fine.
Yet.
Yeah, yet. So I moved. I was looking for something to fill that void, and I discovered that a few friends of mine play League of Legends, and I got into it. And let me say that I'm having a lot of fun. Like, okay. You gotta split League of Legends for the actual game, and then everything that surrounds it. The actual game, and I think not enough people talk about this, is really good.
But everything around it is really cool.
Yeah, that's for sure what I was gonna say. It's really good, like, as a game. There are so many interactions, so many, because of the champion format, it allowed Riot to, like, explore a lot of different mechanics. Some of them fucking suck and are over-designed, but some of them are really good. And, like, unlike Overwatch, boo, Blizzard, I think they took it farther, right? There are like more champions that mess up the game and do really weird stuff and have different playstyles. There are problems for sure, like balancing and items and the meta and all that shit, but at the core of it, it's a really good game. And then everything else is abhorrent. Like, it's atrocious. If you think like the community being toxic is a meme, it's not. It's like super ultra toxic, and it's not even the people you play with. I'll give you an example. This is something that still drives me really mad about the game. Someone makes a mistake, right? In other games, someone's spectating that guy, and they'll say, oh, he made a mistake here, like he used this ult wrong, or he spent this ability and he shouldn't have, or the positioning was bad, right? In League, they say he's trolling. right? Like, making a mistake equals intentionally playing the game bad. Or inting, right? Intentionally feeding. So this guy makes a mistake and dies. Oh, he's inting. He did it on purpose. What the fuck is wrong with... And that's like everyone. That's just the synonyms for playing bad is being an asshole on mistake. Like, what? And I kind of get it because, and this is something really interesting that a streamer that I watched said, the game is solved. Like, League of Legends is solved. By which, when you're not playing a game and you look at a game and there's a decision tree, the community knows the objectively correct decision, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know at which minute you need to go well and which ability to use when, and it's all solved. Now there's though
periodically they make like major changes, right?
Yeah, once in a while
that gets solved.
Yeah, exactly, because there's so many people playing and so many professionals. Like, it's one of the most robust esport leagues on the planet, if not the most robust, depending on how you measure it, I guess. Those are solved, and then there's... Sorry?
By dick length.
Yeah, dick length, for sure. And then there's the mechanical skill of executing it, and also keeping all the different scenarios in your head, right? Like, seeing the macro and knowing how to respond and stuff like that. So because that's the case, when someone does something wrong, people are like, oh, he knew the answer, he was intentionally feeding. Guys, what the fuck is wrong with you? And the last thing I want to say is, like, it's very clear that Riot have no idea what to do, like, to solve this. They're trying to do, like, patchwork stuff, but if you mute everyone, or you play just with your friends, it's fucking incredible. Like, when I play 5-man games with just my friends, it's really, 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 really fun. More fun than I had with Overwatch, even in the heyday of, like, Overwatch and before. I knew that Blizzard was like a fucking hellmouth of shittiness. Not that Riot is, you know...
Yeah, like I was gonna say.
yeah, it's not the best company on the planet, but I don't think it's on the same level yet as Blizzard, right? And everything that we know about them now. Again, you can play Diablo 2, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying. So, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's really fun. You can add me if you want, but I'm on the European servers. My handle, like in every place else, is Tallest Eden. Yeah, that's it. Another game, you want to talk about it, or do you want me to keep
let's do it. Let's do it. I think if we don't do it now, we're not going to do it later.
Yeah.
So, Far Cry 6. I mean, Far Cry 5 was pretty shit. I hated it.
It sucks.
Yeah. After, like, enjoying, 4 quite a bit, and having a decently good time with the expansions, Far Cry 5 just, like, killed all that momentum for me.
Yeah.
So I was, like, pretty not interested in checking out 6, but, like, looking at it, it was like, I'll give it a shot, right? I just, like, wanted to take a chance on it. And the game is great. Like, it's actually really, really good. I'm kind of surprised by how good it is. And it's like, first of all, the formula is kind of different. So some of the things that have been, like, always been a little bit frustrating about, like, 3, 4, 5 was the kind of whole, like, crafting gathering system, and, like, how you start with, like, a really bare bones set of abilities, and you have to, like, hunt, like, 50, like, weasels to, like, craft, like, a weapon holster that allows you to have more than 2 weapons and shit like that. Like, all of that stuff is gone, first of all. Like, there's a much more rewarding kind of upgrade system, and you can just, like, buy weapons for the most part. And also, like, the whole kind of formulaic system of, like, oh, you go to an area, you, like, do the tower / the camp, you stealth and kill everybody, and then, like, you just kind of rinse and repeat. That system is kind of gone. Like, they're just mostly focusing on the kind of crafted story content for the most part. Yeah. Which is nice. And also, like, the game looks really nice. Like, visually, it's more interesting and diverse than previous entries. And finally, I think, like, it just leans into the chaos and nonsense. Like, the previous games, it became too easy to, like, just stealth your way through everything and, like, just, like, not play the game. But here, they fully lean into the chaos, which is cool. The story is a little bit more cinematic and interesting. And, like, yeah, I'm having a good time with Far Cry 6.
I think I'm like a bigger fan than you of the franchise. I really liked Far Cry 3, and then Far Cry 4 is like one of my favorite games. 5 was bad. And I think what happened, everything you said is correct. I just want to add 2 more things. One, the level design in 5 was just atrocious. And was
there level design in that game?
Yeah, it was just flat. And here they brought back verticality and also different fighting environments. Like the areas are actually different from each other. So El Este is like jungle, and then the other areas, I don't remember the names. There's like city, more like an urban landscape, and like increased guard presence, shit like that. So it changes your playstyle. And the second thing is, with the chaos and the nonsense, like 5 was way over the top. Like you had a scientist building a time machine, and the guy with the fireworks, and the CIA agent, and all that stuff. And here there's like ridiculousness. I mean, there's a fucking killer chicken, right? Killer rooster. He rules, by the way. I really like that storyline. But it's kind of like toned back, but still in the correct moments it becomes ridiculous, which is the Far Cry formula, right? So couple all that stuff together, like put them together, and you get a really good game. I wish it was harder, like the AI can be kind of stupid, but again, the focus is on the quests and like the storyline rather than just clearing all the bases. There are no skills, by the way, so you don't gather XP, so you don't feel like you have to be a completionist. You can just kind of roll with the story, and the characters are really, really great. I started in El Este, which is technically not where you're supposed to start.
Yeah.
But I really recommend starting there anyway, because the characters there are very, very good.
I started in Madrugada, and now I'm doing El Este.
Yeah, El Este is really good. And one last thing, the whole politics thing. So I don't know if this was just the internet being stupid or like Ubisoft's PR like stoked the flames on purpose. Probably both. But there was this whole thing about whether Castillo is he Bautista or is he not Bautista? That's the wrestler who's in C, but Batista. Or is he Castro? And he's Batista. Like, if you expected to go into this game and find like an anti-communist, anti-Cuban revolution, no. Like literally when you go to El Este, which is in the east, where the Cuban Revolution started, the legends of 67 are a clear reference to the 26th of July movement. And like Castillo is Batista, he's like hereditary rule, he's a vicious fascist. The only thing you could say, which I think is kind of fucked up, but not enough to cancel the game, is the whole thing with Viviro. It's like a clear shot at Cuba's biomedical industry, which is incredible and very, very advanced. And like trying to say, yeah, but it's actually evil is kind of fucked up. But other than that, it's not Castro at all. It's just not. So if you have been holding off on this game because it's just going to be like rabid anti-communist shit, it's not. And honestly, even if it was, that shouldn't stop you from playing games. And I'm more communist than you, if you're listening. Except for one guy that I know who's listening. Yeah, like I'm putting all of you guys in the gulag because that's what actually we want to do, right? Play the game if that was keeping you off. It's good. It's a good game.
Yes. Far Cry 6 is good. It's fun.
Hot take.
And also, like, it's less formulaic than kind of previous Ubisoft games and previous Far Cry games. So that's cool.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
I guess.
This was the Squid Game, the podcast. Now you're all gonna die? I don't know, I haven't watched it, so. Thank you.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye.
Alright. Cool. I think 247, maybe. Numbers are an imperialist construct. Alright. Bye.